The local opponent wanted to assassinate Kwame Nkrumah. They did it about 5 times, but they couldn't. And so, when it comes to Pan-Africanism, Kwame Nkrumah had his own ideas, and he found support in African Americans overseas, especially those from the United States, Du Bois for one, Padmore for second, CLR James for third, although CLR James didn't believe that Nkrumah can achieve that idea. So we stopped there, and I would say that he did what he has to do, and he had a very strong opposition in his own people or some leaders of Africa, especially I will name one or two. His neighbor, Fufu Boigny of Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, hated that idea. In other words, those who hated it, Nkrumah wanted independence now, and his detractors wanted independence in the shortest possible time. But Nkrumah beat them to the game.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I will just hit a little bit on. I will just ask you to say something about the independence, and then of course we are going to move into Pan-Africanism again. What kind of independence are we even talking about here? Because in many parts of Africa, we see these Africans who are negotiating with the colonialists on the independence. And in most of these cases, this independence, the terms have been drafted and they need to sign. And in most of the cases, we really didn't get independence. We just got a semblance of independence. So by independence now, of course, it will look like the United States getting independence from Britain, and they remain totally independent. Is that they are able to formulate their policies and they run their system independence of the United Kingdom. Is that the kind of independence we are talking about when we say, for example, Ghana got independence on the 6th of March 1957, or maybe Nigeria got independence October 1st, 1916? Are we talking about the same thing here? Let me understand.
Yes, Mr. Ovehi, I think most of us pretended that we know the independence that we were fighting for. No, I don't think so. And it was clear to some of us that independence would mean, like one of Nkrumah's ministers said, and I mentioned Korbudusi, he said, independence means you scratch my back, I scratch your back. I don't know whether I understand what Korbudusi was saying, but Korbudusi was a staunch supporter of Nkrumah. Nkrumah didn't say independence means you scratch my back, I scratch your back. It meant something entirely different, politically, economically, socially, Nkrumah wanted freedom in all these. He didn't want dictatorship from outside Ghana or dictatorship from the colonial administration or the local administration like the chiefs. And for that matter, they hated him. They didn't like him. And he wanted complete independence without strings attached. And that's the phrase he used. No independence with strings attached. Because they will give you independence, but they will tend to rule you from behind with either money or ideas. And Nkrumah never wanted that. He wanted independence from the African personality, the word he used, independence with free ideas, independence, you rule yourself, even making your own mistakes. He didn't want anybody from outside to dictate to the African, the new African, what to do and what not to do. And most of his followers or the elite with whom he was ruling Ghana, most of them didn't understand it. And so they did what they liked. For instance, they began to acquire wealth, building houses and establishing their own companies and all that. For that reason, Nkrumah won them in what it came to pass was called the Dawn broadcast. And the Dawn broadcast, he warned party members, especially those who were ministers, those who held very good position in the party. Independence for Africa doesn't mean just to struggle for wealth. If you want to set up a company or you want wealth, get out of the party. Don't stay in the party or in the cabinet, his cabinet, and then amass wealth for yourself and your family. So this is what, as I was growing up, and in fact, when Nkrumah came to Ghana in 1947, I was 12 years old. And we all began to understand what the man was saying, but we didn't understand it all. We also thought that independence means getting something to eat. And how you eat it, how you get and eat it comes from working or otherwise. And this is what happened.